I want to tell you about two men who retired on the same Tuesday in September. Same age, both 65. Both had spent the better part of 4 decades showing up, doing the work, putting money away, and by the time that Tuesday arrived, they both had almost exactly the same number sitting in their retirement accounts. $1 million. They'd done it, the number everyone talks about, the finish line most people never reach, and they both crossed it at the same time, more or less, on a Tuesday in September, and had a drink to celebrate. 13 years later, one of them got a phone call from his bank that he will never forget for the rest of his life. His account balance was $47,000. He was 78 years old. His monthly withdrawal of $5,833, the same withdrawal he'd been taking every single month for 13 years, would drain the last of it within 8 months. He had to call his daughter. The other man, on that same Tuesday, 13 years later, opened his quarterly statement and found $1,247,000, more than he started with after 13 years of withdrawals. He'd taken out over $800,000 in income and ended up with more money than he retired with. Same starting balance, same amount they each planned to withdraw. One ran out, one grew, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Because the difference between them had nothing to do with luck, nothing to do with which stocks they picked, and nothing to do with how smart either of them was. It had to do with one decision each of them made about how to handle the years when the market didn't cooperate. Subscribe if you want to stick around for this one. It's one of the most important things I've covered on this channel. Let's start with where they both were at the beginning. Both men had $1 million in a diversified retirement portfolio. Both wanted to withdraw $70,000 a year, that's 7% of their starting balance, to cover their expenses in retirement. That works out to $5,833 every single month. A comfortable income, not extravagant, just enough to live well, travel a little, help the grandkids occasionally, and not think about money every day. Now, before I go any further, I know some of you are already thinking, wait, isn't 7% too high? Aren't you supposed to take out 4%? Fair question. And it's one I've been asked a lot since our last video on why $1 million isn't enough to retire anymore. The famous 4% rule, based on research from a financial planner named Bill Bengen back in 1994, says that if you withdraw 4% of your starting balance in year one and adjust that amount for inflation each year, your money has historically lasted at least 30 years in every scenario ever tested. Even people who retired right before the Great Depression. Even people who retired into the brutal 1970s inflation. 4% survived everything. On $1 million, that's $40,000 a year. $3,333 a month, which, as I showed you in the last video, doesn't cover most people's retirement expenses. But here's something worth knowing. And this surprised me when I found it. Bengen himself has since said that 4% was always meant to be a worst-case floor, not a ceiling. Not the number you should aim for, the number you could fall back on if everything went wrong. In recent years, he's updated his own recommendation to closer to 4.7%, and some research suggests that flexible retirees can go meaningfully higher than that. So, 7% isn't automatically reckless. The question, and this is the question that decided everything for our two retirees, is how you take it. Both men retired into the same market, the same September, and that September, the market started dropping. Nothing catastrophic at first, but a meaningful decline over the first 2 years. Their portfolios fell roughly 28% from peak to trough during that stretch. The first man wasn't worried. He'd read that markets always come back. He knew his long-term average return was going to be fine. So he kept doing exactly what he'd planned. $5,833 out of the account every month, rain or shine, up market, or down market. The same number every time, the way he'd promised himself he would. What he didn't understand, and I want to be honest here because this is the thing almost no one fully understands until they're living it, is that the order markets move in matters enormously in retirement in a way that it simply doesn't when you're still saving. Let me explain this carefully, because this is the most important thing I'm going to say today. When you're still working and adding money every month, a market crash is actually an opportunity. You're buying more shares at cheaper prices. The crash helps you over time. But the moment you retire and start withdrawing, everything reverses. Now, a crash at the beginning of retirement is the single most dangerous financial event you can experience because you're not buying shares anymore. You're selling them at the bottom. Here's what that actually looked like in real numbers. After the first rough year, the first man's portfolio had dropped to roughly $720,000. He withdrew his $70,000 that year regardless. That $70,000 wasn't 7% of his portfolio anymore. It was 9.7% of what he had left. He was selling shares at the bottom, locking in those losses permanently, and leaving himself with fewer shares to recover when the market eventually bounced back. Year 2 was more of the same. Another withdrawal at depressed prices. Another chunk of permanent losses locked in. By the time the market recovered in year 3, his portfolio had recovered in percentage terms. But the base it was recovering from was so much smaller that the dollar amount never caught back up. He was already behind in a way he couldn't see yet. The math had turned against him quietly in those first 2 years, and it never turned back. The second man retired the same week. Same market, same drop, same 28% decline over those first 2 years. But he did one thing differently. In year 1 of the decline, he sat down with his wife at the kitchen table, and they went through their budget line by line. Not in a panic, not because anyone told them to, just the two of them on a Sunday afternoon with a cup of coffee and a spreadsheet he'd been updating quarterly for 6 years. They found $1,240 a month in what she called the flex stuff. The vacation they'd planned for November, they moved it to April and found a better rate anyway. Dinners out 3 times a week became twice a week. The home renovation they'd been planning got pushed 12 months. They didn't cut anything that mattered. They cut the parts that could wait. His withdrawal in year 1 of the decline, $4,591 a month instead of $5,833. He left the shares alone. He let the portfolio recover. Year 2, same thing. They trimmed. They waited. Year 3, the market came back. His portfolio recovered from a larger base than the first man's because he'd sold fewer shares at the bottom. And in year 4, when the market was up strongly, he and his wife did something they hadn't planned on. They gave themselves a raise. They took $6,400 that month. And the month after, they went on the vacation they'd postponed. They did the renovation. Over the full 13 years, he and his wife spent more in total than the first man did because in the good years, they let themselves enjoy it, and in the bad years, they briefly pulled back. The flexibility wasn't deprivation. It was just the decision to let timing work for them instead of against them. Now, what he did has a name. It's called dynamic withdrawal, or sometimes the Guardrails Strategy. And I want to walk you through exactly how it works, because this is the system that decides which retiree you become. Instead of picking a fixed dollar amount and taking it out every month no matter what, you set a range. His range was roughly 5% on the low end and 7% on the high end, measured against his current portfolio value, not his starting value. If the portfolio grew and his withdrawal rate drifted below 5% of the new balance, he gave himself a raise, more income in the good years. If a downturn pushed his withdrawal rate above 7% of what was left, He trimmed back to the flex spending until the portfolio recovered, 2 guardrails, a floor and a ceiling, and one more thing, a cash buffer, about $140,000 set aside in short-term bonds and cash. That meant he never had to sell stocks into a downturn at all. When the market dropped, they lived on the buffer. When the market recovered, they refilled it. 3 rules. That's the whole system. Rule 1. Start flexible, not fixed. A starting withdrawal rate of around 5% to 5.5%. Not a number locked in forever, but a number you're willing to adjust when the math calls for it. Rule 2. Set the guardrails. Below 5% of current balance, give yourself a raise. Above 7% of current balance, trim the flex spending. No panic, no guesswork, just 2 lines on a piece of paper that tell you what to do before the market makes the decision for you. Rule 3. Protect the first 5 years. Keep 1 to 2 years of expenses in cash or short-term bonds. Never sell stocks in a down market if you can avoid it. The danger zone in retirement is the beginning, not the end. Get through the first 5 years intact and the math starts working in your favor. The first man followed none of these rules. Not because he was careless, because nobody explained to him that the math of retirement withdrawal is completely different from the math of retirement saving. He spent 40 years being rewarded for consistency, same contribution every month, no matter what, and he assumed the same discipline would serve him in withdrawal. It didn't. Because the rules changed the moment the direction of the money reversed. This is the thing that almost never gets explained properly. And it's the reason I made this video. The habits that build the portfolio are not the same habits that protect it. Consistency in saving is a virtue. Consistency in withdrawal when the market is down is a slow motion disaster. So, can you safely withdraw 7% in retirement as a rigid fixed number taken out every month regardless of what the market is doing? No. The sequence risk is too real. Too many people have found out the hard way. At 78, with 8 months of money left and a phone call to make to their daughter. But as a flexible target, wherein 7% is what you spend in the good years, where you trim in the down years, where you protect the first 5 years with a buffer, then for many retirees, yes. Especially if you have other income like Social Security covering your essential bills, so that your portfolio withdrawal is gravy rather than survival. The number was never the answer. The behavior is the answer. The man who ended up with $1,247,000 after 13 years of retirement didn't retire with more than the other man. He didn't have better investments. He didn't get lucky with timing. He just built one small habit into his retirement plan that the other man never built. The willingness to adjust, to look at the number, look at the market, look at the budget spreadsheet he'd been updating for 6 years, and make a different choice in the years when a different choice was called for. At some point in the next few years, if you're anywhere near retirement, a number is going to land in your account and you're going to have to decide how to take it out. There won't be a signal. There won't be a warning that this is the year the market drops. You'll just be a person with a number and a monthly budget and a decision to make. Build the flexibility before you need it. Know your flex spending before the market makes the choice for you. Set the guardrails while you can still think clearly about them. That's the only version of this that works. If this changed how you think about retirement withdrawals, or if someone you know is approaching retirement and needs to hear this, share this video with them. And subscribe for more of this. I'll see you in the next one. Disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing here is financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial professional before making any retirement or investment decisions.